All right. Today, we're going to talk about what we got wrong early on and obviously what it cost us. So it's good to identify what we got wrong, but it's better to identify what that caused us to miss out on, or maybe a pain point that it created because we chose X versus Y. So I know, Tim, you and I were talking beforehand. Just I figure I'll pass the mic over to you and kind of share your horror story with everyone. We'll
Our
edit
horror
whatever we don't
story.
think needs to be told, but share your horror story.
What we got wrong and what it cost us. I, a lot of times when we're talking to prospective clients, I, I say a big benefit that we have is that we've been doing this for over 12 years. And at this point, we've learned a lot from our mistakes. And because a lot of times we talk to those prospective clients who either they're going to build their own tech in the space or they want to buy it. And we're obviously trying to convince them to buy it, and they can build it, but no amount of money is gonna offset the need for experience. And so we definitely have made some mistakes along the way. You probably more than I have, right? If I'm not one to count, but if we were
Well,
keeping
that's what happens when
score,
you lead. You tend to make mistakes. The followers get to benefit from that. Like I fell on my face over here. So Tim, you get to choose this other path. That's I just. By the way, quick side note. I finally have been converted into Squid Games. Did you ever watch that?
I have watched
All
that.
right, so like I just finished season one. I'm not quite on season three, but it was just interesting to see at the very end where they had that the glass bridge. Not to spoil it for anyone, but like I wish I was number 16 in that situation.
Yeah,
Number one was not the right decision to be in, but that's what's hard. Whenever I mean, you and I both know from starting a business, it's starting it where there is no playbook. I mean, there's 1,000 playbooks you could choose from, but no specific playbook that will guarantee your success. And you're making mistake after mistake after mistake. And sometimes, especially as a founder, you're super pumped when you hear like a consultant or someone talking in your head saying, I can help you with this. Like I could solve it for you. Like, well, here's a check. Let me give it to you. And then inevitably those people make the same mistakes that you and I do, but yet it costs us $10,000 to hear from them versus just learning on our own.
exactly. And I think any mistake we've made, the biggest thing it's cost us is time.
Yeah, 100% time.
I mean, that's so critical. Time, I think of when we launched our first client, it was the city of Newark, and we were so excited. They're great, great partners for us. They had a huge need to just help, for us to help them to get people healthy, and we decided we were going to do a big launch party. And they had told us, I don't remember the number that they gave us, but they said, if you can get X amount of people to join and start the program, this is a huge success. And I think we 10x the number that they had given. It was crazy, all the people that joined. And we did this big launch party. We had a DJ, we had my buddy Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker from the New York Giants there. He had the Super Bowl trophy. The mayor came out, everybody came out, and we thought we had cracked the code on wellness in like one day. We were like, look at all these people that joined,
So
and
easy,
it
guys.
was easy. Yeah, how's everybody failing at this? Like, what are? It's just because they're not Tim and Clark, and we didn't get one person of all those people to sign up. Not one person took one step in the positive direction after they signed up. And I remember we were scratching our heads like, how do you get so many people excited and they're not even moving forward? And so I spent probably 2 days there that next year on site. We were doing focus groups, meeting with the employees. I was with, our coaches, just like, what do we have to do to figure this out? Now, at the time, we didn't really have a platform. Our coaches were using spreadsheets and text messages and just kind of trying to create that personal connection. And in that first focus group, I didn't need to go any further than that. I learned everything I needed to. This lady, she was awesome. She raised her hand and she said, I'm a single mom. I really need this. I have, multiple chronic conditions. I am not doing any of the things you're trying to promote, but you gave me this fancy fitness program and nutrition. I just can't stick to it. It's like, man, we are missing the mark here by not starting with smaller steps. And so I asked her, I said, I'm not a coach, I'm not a doctor, but I'm here to help. What's one thing maybe you could work on? And she said, I don't know if this is a thing, but I have 8 cups of coffee a day and I have 3 teaspoons of sugar in every single one of those cups of coffee. And I said, again, I'm not a coach, I'm not a doctor. That is the thing. And let's talk about that. Can you cut that in half maybe? And then shoot us a text and say, hey, I hit my goal. And then the week after, can you cut it again in a half? The reason I bring this up is she's this huge success story that 12 months removed from that conversation we had, she had lost like a ton of weight. She had accomplished a ton of goals. She was doing Zumba in City Hall. She was eating healthier. But if we hadn't been there for that first step, that first small, simple step, we would have never been successful with her. So what did I learn in that? You got to start simple for many, many people. You got to start with attainable goals. You also don't be too ambitious. Even like I say this to myself personally, like you can't just crack the code on everything, immediately. Set one goal for the week, set one goal for the day. But that costs us time. I mean, that's where I go back to what did it cost us? We probably had a year trying to figure out how to simplify our solution as opposed to how do you invest in it and make it fancier with the shiny ball. So
I think you and I both have like the same theme, especially like as a small business trying to get going. The most important, and also too, like as both you and I being fathers and family guys, it's like the only thing that really matters is time. Time either to spend with your family, time to spend in your community, time to spend on your business. And when you make a decision that costs you time, you don't realize it right away, but it has like that residual impact that you're like, oh yeah, that thing like 12 months ago, damn, I wish I didn't do that decision. And I think of just a general statement for our path and what we've been working on. There's been some times in our own journey that we probably maybe hired a little too quickly when you and I or others on our team that were trusted mastered exactly what we were going to do. And the reason why that's so important is because then we knew if it was done the right way. If you hire too quickly, inevitably someone will say that this is the way it should be done versus mastering, understanding, documenting, and proving out a process that you can do it at scale. And also that you ensure that you have the right amount of guardrails in place. So if the performance falls outside that kind of the median range that you had done originally, you know that something is wrong here versus like, well, that's the new normal. And I think there's a couple of times people to me nameless, won't be saying any names. But if you go back, you're like, I wish we didn't do that. I wish you and I did that. We did this part of the journey. And there's a couple other times I remember you and I literally at 9 o'clock at night, sharing an Airbnb, like making phone calls on behalf of our clients, like doing the hard work just because we actually didn't have anyone to do the work at the time. So it's the good and the bad of that, of not having anyone. And then you and I are doing that when you say that we probably should hire for that position. And then us focus on the next strategic item. But it's hard. It's hard when you're starting out to decide what is the right place you should spend your time at and how do you best get to the next level.
Do you remember that weird Airbnb in Chicago where the owner was like downstairs and just had that screen by the stairs and we were upstairs? That was the weirder. That was one of the weirder ones when we were trying to
save money. And everyone knows this story, at least from our team. When Tim and I would travel, early days, I'd say, Tim, like, we're just getting going. We don't need to go overboard here. We don't need 2 hotel rooms. Like, let's just get a hotel room or a Airbnb. Of course, 2 beds, guys. Like, don't let your mind wander here. But I was like, we just don't need to spend the money on this stuff. And then finally, Tim was like, Clark, I have kids. I just want my own space. I want to be quiet. And I'm like, this is before I had kids. I'm like, I just don't get it. Why do you want to spend $200 extra or whatever the amount was? And then I had my first child, and I was like, Tim, we're definitely gonna do 2 rooms. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad I came up with that decision. It's a worthwhile investment. And I remember hitting that bed when no kid, and also too, like, as a parent, any parent out there, you probably never fully sleep like you ever used to sleep. You're always kind of like, I hear a noise. My eyes are partly open. You're always aware, and you're never fully shut down except when you're traveling. And you like throw that deadbolt on, the do not disturb sign on, air conditioner cranks, room darkener shades. I'm like, dude, I'm knocking out. Like, I'm done. I'll see you at some point tomorrow. It was magical. That was one of my magical sleeps. I remember that. It
was good. See, and maybe you should travel more. Get out there. I mean, I don't know. That would be my advice.
So could that be one of our learnings? Like to not share a room is another learning, and what it cost us. It didn't cost us a friendship. We still have the friendship, so we survived through that.
Yeah. We would still text each other goodnight and all of that. I mean, it was still.
And then also is what time you want to meet at the gym. That's another thing too. It's like when we would travel, it'd be, let's go hit up whatever place we are. Let's go do the gym. Tim would add 5 plates too many for me, and I'd be doing basically plyometrics on the other side of the gym. But it was a good combination.
It was good. Well, you're wonderful at stretching. I'll say plyometrics.
I'm built differently. Tim.
You are built differently. In your defense, I can't run 100 miles. So
I'm trying to, I think of like you know, as I mean, you are older than me. So as we get older, like the longevity and the health, like what should we do? And obviously we both know that you need strength training. You do need muscle mass. You also do need flexibility, but you just, how do you craft like the perfect workout for the time you have, like limited time, and like where do you spend? What's the biggest return? I think that's something that a lot of people that are in a similar age bracket as you and I are like considering now. When you're back in college, it was like, let me just lope as many places as I possibly can, and probably just go focus on chest and arms today, guys. Yep. We don't need to worry about the calves. No calves, chest and arms. That's what we're going after. Now I'm like, how do I work on that core? I really want to work on my lower back.
That's
my
good.
My hip flexors are tight, so that it's the debate now.
Well, that goes back to mistakes you've made, because I historically will say I want to start this very intricate 12-week program where everything is, every gram of protein is measured and every rep is laid out for me. And then life gets in the way. We own our own business. I have 4 kids. You have 2. I mean, it gets difficult. I've found, honestly, ChatGPT to be an awesome exercise resource, because I will feed it programs I've liked in the past. And then as a day gives me maybe a curveball, I'm able to adjust, and it adjusts work. Or like, even I work out in a small gym. Sometimes it's crowded, so there's 2 exercises I can't do or whatever. Hey, give me a quick replacement. I mean, it's not much of a hack, but honestly, if people should be using that, I would definitely recommend using that.
Takes the cognitive load off you.
Yeah, you just don't think about it. You just, okay, here, change this.
Or in the same thing on the nutrition side, I use it as well for nutrition primarily. I'm like, I need a healthy this. Here's a bunch of ingredients I have. Give me a recommendation I could do in less than 15 minutes. It's like, it's pretty good. Again, I don't need to think about it. I don't need to be creative. I don't need to pull out the cookbook. It's like, just, I look at my phone and I get after it.
One day we'll go a week without making one decision or having an original thought on our own. I think that day is coming. It is.
It's coming. Superintelligence is coming, everyone. That's why we have to do these videos, to make sure you know it's really us. We're really here doing this, until one day it will be the avatar. As